Okay, new video, classes in session. Topic of the day, we're talking about veganism and spirituality, and if they do coincide with each other. So, plenty of people are more interested in the spiritual paths nowadays. You know, there's a great awakening happening, and a lot of the times I'm starting to come across people who will ask me if being a vegan is the way, or there are certain people who are vegan who in a way present themselves as if veganism is enlightenment or it is making them more spiritual or something like that. So let me go ahead and break this down to those who might not comprehend. All right, so veganism is kind of like the surface level of when you're breaking the surface of consciousness. That's like the first point that you'll hit, because you'll realize that a lot of the ways that people are inhibiting their consciousness is through their diet. It's called your diet, which means it might be what kills you. So naturally, if your consciousness is expanding to a certain degree, you're going to come to the realization that, dang, a lot of the things that are killing people are actually self-inflicted. So if somebody is ended up with cancer, you know, maybe, just maybe, it might be the fact that they have been consuming toxic things over so long that these carcinogens are finally catching up with them, and then they end up getting cancer. So it's like that's the surface level of it, but it's not that simple when it comes to being vegan and eating fruits and vegetables and getting to enlightenment. That's not the same thing. It's really not. So, like I said, you're going to naturally want to take better care of yourself. You're going to have a higher standard for the things that go into your body and onto your body, which is really the same thing. But it's a lot deeper than that. So let me really get a little deeper with this. So if I'm a vegan, right, that might just mean that I'm making sure that I eat foods that have not been once living when it comes to having a heartbeat or not. Okay, so that means you're only subscribing to eating fruits and vegetables. Now, on the surface level, you might think that's a good idea, but there's a lot of foods that are qualified as vegan that are actually very unhealthy for you, because it's a lot deeper than just vegan or meat, because you got to consider the fact that a lot of these foods that are considered vegan are genetically modified or genetically engineered. So if you're eating a lot of soy, I see a lot of vegans eat a lot of stuff that's soy based. You're really doing yourself a really bad service if you're eating a lot of soy, because a majority of the soy that's created in this world is, guess what, GMO soy. So you're actually making yourself less healthy over time. And I hear a lot of people saying stuff like, well, I eat meat to get protein. I mean, that's a bunch of crap too, because you don't need protein as much as you need a lot of other minerals. But realistically, you can get protein from stuff like beans and a lot more from a spoonful of beans than you could some meat. But realistically, protein isn't the thing you need to be focused on. But let's stay on the subject. I got a lot of other videos coming about what you should be eating and health and wellness and whatnot. But so make sure you subscribe if you want more videos coming along, things about spirituality, because that's all we're talking about, from the outside to the inside, physically and metaphysically. All right, so to keep on going with this whole veganism thing, if you do go vegan, that could be your choice, and that's cool. But if you're gonna do that, just make sure you're not eating a lot of GMOs, and make sure you know the difference between something that is acidic and something that is alkaline, or something that is natural versus something that is genetically engineered. And there's a heck of a lot of other things that you got to consider that are much bigger than just, ooh, this is vegan friendly. Like, for example, people might eat vegan cheese, but that cheese might be made out of who knows what, and it could actually be plastic. So it's like, okay, you just substituted real meat for plastic. Now, sometimes people are eating meat, and that's actually fake meat too, because these are hybrid animals a lot of the time too. But once again, that's another video for another time, because it goes really deep when it comes to the food that we're consuming. Truth be told, you don't need food at all. So if you really know what's up, you'll start eating less in general. That will increase your consciousness, because now you're inhaling a lot more of the air element, and you're allowing your organs to think freely. So now you're not slowing yourself down. You ever realize when you overeat, you might get sleepy? The reason why is because now your body is having to utilize a lot of energy to break down all that stuff that you put in you. So really, when it comes to the truly enlightened, a lot of the time, the truly enlightened don't eat much at all. And the reason why is because it's very easy to recognize when you're at a lower vibration and you're feeling a lot more dense when you are eating. Because, of course, enlightenment is self-awareness. So you're aware of yourself, your potential, your abilities, your strengths, your weaknesses, etc. And, of course, you are maintaining control over these things, especially the things that go on in your environment. So to continue on with this, I really want to emphasize that one thing that I personally do to make sure that I'm not only healthy but still balanced is occasionally I will eat something that is what might be considered not so good. So I might intentionally eat something that's got artificial flavors in it, or I might intentionally eat something that's genetically modified. Now, of course, I'm not going to eat a lot of it, but the thing is, it's more of a survival thing. So if there's somebody who is going from being vegan and then all of a sudden say they get into a desperate situation, like a survival situation, and you try to go eat meat and you haven't eaten meat in 4 or 5 years, your body's going to go in a panic mode and you're not even going to be able to survive off of that meat. It'll actually make you sick. So what I do personally is, even though I don't consume much meat myself, occasionally I do eat some just in case if what's in my environment I need to utilize, my body can still handle it. So that's just the balance. That's how I found I'm able to balance everything. Because I went full-blown vegan for like 2 years. And I went raw vegan. I wasn't eating GMOs. I wasn't eating hybrids. I wasn't eating artificial flavors, colors, any of that stuff. I was the real deal vegan. It definitely will help you expand your consciousness. No kidding. It will. But most people are either not that kind of vegan, not the right kind of vegan, or they're so stuck on the diet part of it that they're forgetting the spirituality part of it. Because you need to be paying more attention to what's going on inside of you anyways. Regardless of if you're eating meats or vegetables or whatever, like that's cool. But I know people who eat meat sometimes. I know people who eat meat who are more enlightened than the full-blown vegan, because sometimes, not every time, but some people are so programmed by being able to identify with a certain group of people because they're not okay with being an individual, that it might be a weakness to where it's like, for example, people who subscribe to a religion, they might feel comfort or some sort of acceptance because they feel like they belong to a certain group. The vegans might feel like they belong to a certain group, but that's not necessarily what it needs to be about. Consciousness and enlightenment is about finding your individuality and realizing that you might be an individual, but you're a part of the whole, or the all that is anyways. So if you can find that balance, you are enlightened. So of course, the whole point here is, don't think that you're more spiritual than somebody just because of your standards for eating. Now, if you are quote unquote more spiritual than them, it better be because you know better and you do better. But here's the thing, man. If somebody is truly enlightened, they're naturally going to have high standards for themselves. So they're not going to want to overeat or eat bad things or consume bad things, whether it be through their eyes, through their ears, through their mouth, or what have you. You're not going to want to be in environments that do not serve you to your highest purpose, so your highest potential. So as your consciousness does expand, you're going to recognize just how important your life really is and how sacred your body should be treated. So naturally, your standards are going to go way, way, way up. But don't think that your third eye is going to open simply because of what you're eating. You're not going to have a Kundalini awakening just based off of the fact that now you're eating a little different, or now you're drinking different water. Because the truth is, all of that stuff comes from within. You got to spend time getting to know yourself. You got to acknowledge your traumas, and you got to eliminate them and eliminate your fears also. That's probably the biggest thing. But a lot of times, people have a hard time admitting when there's something wrong with them. And that's why it's a lot harder for people to get to the next level in their spiritual journey. This has been a pretty quick video. I got plenty more coming. And the next video that I'm making will more than likely be how to know if you are suffering from a mental illness. Because a lot of the time, somebody might be mentally ill, but they can't tell because of the fact that they're mentally ill. Sounds like the dogs agree with me doing that video, so that'll be the next one up for you guys. Till next time, have a great one.